Hi, hello. It's Makeda here for episode 2 of Encountering Encounter Spirit. Today I have a beautiful special guest, Yulia. She started a company called Know Thy Health, and today we're just going to be talking about, what spiritual health is, Yulia's particular journey with spirit, and ultimately how we met. I'm just waiting again for Yulia to come on so I can invite her into this episode. I hope you all out there in Facebook land, in the World Wide Web, have been keeping yourselves safe, keeping yourselves in tuned in this time. It has been a very, chaotic time with Venus in retrograde and, the Taurus new moon. It's really going, hi Tink, how you doing? Hopefully I can get you on this show soon when you've got some time. I'd love to see what you've been up to since your spiritual emergence as well. So, guys, this is a show for everybody, not just people who have businesses, ordinary people who have, encountered spirit and how that has changed their lives. Things seem to be opening up at the moment with this universal year of 11. Seems that people are ready to step up and step into, who they truly are, their authenticity, and I think it's very hard to kind of determine what that is for you, just because you may have some form of abilities, just because you've encountered spirit in your life doesn't necessarily mean that you have to go out there and be a reader, or, you can choose how that manifestation actually flows through. And, for a lot of my clients, that we look at our inner child type thing to see what are the things that we actually enjoyed, growing up, what are the things that we actually love that perhaps we have taken out of our lives due to this sense of, spirituality and encountering spirit being a serious thing. But, ultimately though, spirit is and does encapsulate all things, and one of those things is joy. So, it is important for us to really find, joy in our lives and joy in the way that we encounter spirit, so that we can have a more, how do I explain it? A supportive experience when we are going through the challenges. Okay, just bear with me again, guys. I'm just going to double check here because. So, we'll just continue waiting. Yeah, awesome, Tink. Thank you again. I'm really enjoying the support and all the love that I'm getting, as I'm jumping on and, just speaking to different people who I've worked throughout the years, and, whether they're clients or students or just people that I've met on the streets. It just seems that, once you kind of open up to this world, there's no going back. And, Tink there, who's watching at the moment, when I first met her, it seemed like it was a bit of a chaotic experience, but ultimately, now I would say that she's, drawing and writing very much in contact. She's finding the courage to move forward, and that's really what this show is about. Hearing other people's stories, finding out what it took, for them to get through different experiences, different encounters, different chaotic moments in life, challenges, dark nights of the soul, and finding out what it was exactly, what was the inspiration at that time. And, I know for me very much, this inspiration really comes from outside of myself and inside of myself, from the connection that I have to the divine. And so I really attribute all my ideas to spirit, my creativity. I actually feel that, the imagination as the fertile ground of the soul, where we can find those answers perhaps that we deem to be our imagination, but where does that actually come from? Where do we actually get inspired from? Okie doke. So thanks, Tink. Yeah, Tink's saying that she's surprising herself. Oh good, Yulia's on. Just on how much and how differently, because, and I think that's the biggest thing, we assume that or have an expectation about how Spirit is going to come into our lives, where we'll get that message. Some people go to the church and feel the closest to God in a church or in a synagogue or, in a structure, but it is true that Spirit speaks to us in different ways. And so what I'm going to do now, we've got Yulia on, I can see that here, so I'm just going to introduce to... Okie doke. I can see you on, Yulia, but I can't invite you on because you might be on a computer rather than with these Facebook Lives, guys. I actually need you to log onto a phone when you're on when you're on the PC, it doesn't actually use your videos. So, Yulia, if you can just check the text, I'll just do that with her. I'd love to, while we're waiting for Yulia, I'd love to find out how Spirit has touched your life. Have you been through any particular experiences yourself? Have you encountered Spirit in your life? I've had Tink, she's an ex-student of mine, and she's explained, how differently Spirit has been showing up. And, and I was just talking about expectation and how... we sometimes have these expectations of how Spirit will turn up in our lives, and it can be very, very different. It can be very, very different from what we expect. So and this is, as I said before, the point of the show. We're really wanting to find out, how Spirit shows up differently, because it can speak to us in different ways, signs and symbols. Tink just said she found a feather in her just outside her on her doorstep. I went to the beach yesterday, and when was it, Friday? I was just sitting there and I found this amazing where is it? This amazing pelican feather. I'm not too sure if you can see that. Here. Just hanging out, and pelican is definitely something, an animal, a bird that speaks to me. It doesn't want to go back, it wants to sit with me, I think. That definitely speaks to me about, travel and flight, and definitely connecting to more than just my ultimate environment. So, when we can look at the attributes and the symbols of what things mean to us, we can certainly, put that into our Spirit dictionaries, into our understanding of how Spirit can talk to us in our ordinary environments. Okie doke. So I'm just waiting again for Yulia. I think she's watching. Okie dokie. And I really find these Facebooks and Facebook Live like an amazing, amazing way to connect to people in different places around the world, people who, even in Sydney, like Tink, I know she's up the Central Coast, to have these types of circles and sharing where perhaps, we couldn't necessarily get there. So it's such a beautiful way and such a beautiful connection and community that we can have here on the internet. Okay. So I think while I'm waiting for Yulia to jump on the phone for her interview, I might just explain a little bit about how we actually met, and just a little bit of background on Yulia, because I am aware that the time is ticking and I want to put most of the focus on her when she comes on. And so I just want to let you know, I met Yulia uh, at the Andrew Bartzis Living the Mystical Life Daily Conference. It was a conference that I went to last year in October, and Andrew Bartzis, he's a galactic historian. He has his own Facebook channel that I believe has been going on for some time, maybe 2014, maybe even 2011. And he puts up beautiful tips on how to go about this life, be in this world, while dealing with the sensitivities, while dealing with, the state of the current level of consciousness. And so that's where we met. The tickets were, she's ready to come on by the. Thanks, guys, for your patience. This is, all the internet stuffy, that we all have to go through, that we all have to figure out, whilst, still dealing with energies that are not only Wi-Fi, dealing with energies that are spirit as well, that can sometimes interfere. And I find that a lot of us people who are on this path really some of us, I should say, not all, yay, here she is, want to and have some trouble with technology. Okay, cool. Here, right-brained, it's or something like so long, guys. So this is going to be all improv, a spirit conversation with me and Yulia. See what she's been up to since I saw her last year in New York, New Jersey, and New York. So we're just adding from now. Yay!
McKenna.
Oh my gosh, Julia!
Hi.
Awesome. How are you, my
I'm
lovely?
doing great. How are you?
Oh, I am amazing. It's been quite a wild ride since I saw you last. As I can imagine, it was been for you
I cannot
too.
believe what was just happening. It's just like unbelievable. It's like every step of the way I was blocked and blocked and blocked again. There were definitely some trolls operating there.
Interference going
Yeah,
on.
luckily I had some.
Yeah. Well, my love,
Yes.
I was going to say, I've been thinking about you, and I set up my little space today with some Archangel Michael, stuff there for yourself. I know he's worked a lot in your life. Oh, he's flying off. He's flying off the altar now. But particularly, my love, as I was setting that up for you, I took out my kangaroo paw. And I just really felt this energy of, the ability of just keep moving forward. Here in Australia, the kangaroo, he can't jump backwards. And I just felt like, this year has just been, I just wanted to hold that space for you, just not going backwards, just moving forwards, So, yeah, just felt that holding.
Thank you.
No,
I miss
no,
talking to
no,
you, and
100%.
I admire you
Oh,
and how you connect to spirit. And I couldn't listen to what you said before, but I kind of tuned into it, and so you were talking a lot about the spirit and the connection. And I must say, you must be one of the most connected people I've ever personally met. You are an amazing spirit.
oh,
Yes.
Yulia,
Thank you. And
Yulia,
I'm so grateful for the
seriously,
opportunity of,
no freaking way. I am just a reflection of you, okay? And, like I was just, but while I was waiting, I was just explaining, just quickly how we met and how it was just like this random. I got this free ticket. I ended up at
honey,
this
I got
Andrew Bartz's. I'd heard
free
about him
ticket
like
too.
twice.
Both of us did. Yes, I did.
Did you really?
Yes, I did.
Wow,
And not
wow.
only did we get a free
And
ticket, my
then,
love, but let's go deeper into it. We got a free stay too at our soul
yeah, I
sister's
know.
house,
Our beautiful
who
soul
took
sister
care of
Isabella,
every
like you
single
were
need
there
of
doing
ours,
work.
like a little angel by our
You
side.
were doing your work. and I didn't really even connect to you at the event because you were too busy reading and, you know, helping people with their spiritual health, you know, one session at a time. And then when I got home, this beautiful angel just appeared. And it was all over
Yeah,
from then.
yeah. It was some amazing time. I have been
Yeah.
reliving that again when we connected, and there's such beautiful memories. Like that was great.
Oh, and so, you know, from there, Yuli invited me to a beautiful, you know, lioness goddess workshop where I met more
That's
soul
right.
sisters, you know, went and stayed with her and helped her emerge out of, you know, a crisis
Absolutely.
situation, you know, and amongst all of that, Yulia, you know what? I like my heart, oh my gosh, some of the ways and how spirit have spoken to you, but more importantly, what I've been impressed with you is how, oh, there we go, we've got some Karawongs here having a chat, some birds here in
Hmm.
Australia. And I think they're agreeing with me because what I was going to say is just like I can't, like, how you just have the courage to say yes, like, to me, like, amongst everything that, you know, you've spoken to me about, like, you know, how, you know, we all have blocks, you know, we all have doubts, we all get chaos, but Yulia, you know, you've just always said yes, you know, no matter, you know, coming from Europe to America at a young age, you knew you had to be there, you said yes, you know, and even though at times where you've told me about how the world seemed like it was against you, you've never lost your faith. You know, you never have. And so, you know, can you talk to me a little bit about
I
that,
would
my love?
love to talk about that. That's my favorite subject in the world. um, so thank you for asking. Um, so, okay, here's how I see it and how I feel it. I don't see it as courage. I see it as if I had no choice. That's what I had to do. I see it as if life
Mm,
has put me in the corner where I had no other way to go other than that. And
yeah,
I am somebody who was like pretty much born this way, yeah, there was never any other choice really for me, honestly. I was just like
yeah,
being put
yeah,
in tight situations. I have been in some difficult situations in my life where I had to had to make a choice. And really, when you're in
yeah,
situations like that, that are really difficult, the only way I found is connecting to the divine, because when you're in a position where um, okay, let's put it this way. When you in some sort of an initiation situation, right? And we go through these, the spiritual seekers, we go through these situations a lot. They sometimes call us the dark night of the soul and stuff like that. So really, the
yeah,
way I see it, there is no other way out of these places but prayer and connection to spirit, and just like deep trust and believe that there is a
mm,
higher order to all of this, and then you just like hold on to it as tight as you can because that's all you've got left. And those are the situations I've been faced with in my life again and again and again. So I got to develop that muscle, and like in me, like I see it as like I had no choice because again, that's all I had. So
yeah, yeah, yeah. So can you, like, you know, can you, what do you feel has been, you know, one of the, can you tell me, yeah, tell me about a time, like, tell me when one of the stories, like, when was one of those times where you were flat on your back and you had to just, you know, do it, otherwise you die?
uh
Because that's
yes,
how it
yes,
feels, right? A
exactly,
lot of that
exactly.
time, it's like a death feeling. Like, if I don't do this, if I don't get up, leave, do what I need to do right now, you know, there is
Hmm.
nothing else.
Oh my God, I had so many conversations. I mean, so many situations like that in my life. Which one will be the most evident? It was like when had decided that I had to move to another country. I was at the time
Yeah.
living in Israel, and I have lived in Israel for 10 years.
Mm,
I was not born there. I was brought
mm,
there by my family, and I was originally born in Ukraine. And after some
mm,
times, it had just got to a point where I just literally had no choice but to move. And so a lot of people see that move in my life as like an act of courage. In my opinion, it was like an
mm.
act of like desperation. You know,
Yeah.
I just literally had no
Yeah.
choice because there was nothing else I could grab onto that had worked for me in that place
Yeah.
anymore. And, I was just like fed up with
Yeah.
so many things. And I was like, no, if I'm ever
Mm,
gonna do it, now is the time because it come like to right here.
yeah.
So,
Yeah. So the sensation, the sensation of, I guess, overwhelm, like just was it depression? What was it?
um, it was, oh my God, let me try and tune into that energy now for a second. What was that? It was a feeling of like I've had enough and like this has nothing to do with me. Like all of this big trauma
Mm,
being played out.
yeah.
Um,
Yeah. It's
it's
not like.
not for me like and it demands a lot out of me and I'm
Mm,
not ready to give it to the system. The system there is really got
mm,
its grip on the people, and
yeah.
I could see that. And once you
Yeah.
see that, like there's no way out really, and exactly what I'm talking about. Once you've seen that, there's really no way back. It's like once I've learned,
Yeah.
for example, that like tap water is full of chemicals, I could never ever drink it again. And
Mm,
so it's not like
yeah.
it's not a discussion anymore. Once I've learned what was in there, that was
Yeah.
the end
Yeah.
of it,
Yeah.
period, right? I couldn't go back.
Yeah.
Okay? So same
Yeah.
thing here, like and that's the one thing with me. So I would really call it more of like determination. Like once I got it, I don't need
Mm,
to go over it again. I got it, okay? That's it. Um,
yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
so yeah, that's pretty much it. But there's another thing that, of course, has happened, and that with the spiritual
Mm,
movement was really growing in United States, and I think still is pretty active and still is pretty important, in the worldwide range.
yeah.
I can't like claim to be like a specialist in this, but as far as I'm concerned, right? So that was another reason why I had to be there. So there, of course, was a higher reason for it and a higher purpose to all
Mm,
of this.
mm, mm, mm,
Yes,
mm. And you literally just went to the States and never went home. You just literally went, Spirit, this is, Spirit said this is where I'm going to
exactly.
be. And what, how
I
old are you?
was
Like 50?
25, and I'll tell you more than that. I'll tell you more
Yeah.
than that. I have never been here before. I've never been to the United States before.
Wow.
And then the number two is I didn't speak the language. So
Wow.
all my life I like
At
studied
your
English, but I
core.
never actually spoke it to anyone. And like I had this like
Wow.
a bunch of words in my head, and I had no idea how to put them together and how to actually speak the language. I had the most horrible accent for a while, where even when I got some words, um, nobody would understand because I never actually spoke it. But um, again, my deep trust, it
Mm.
just
Faith.
had created so many miracles for me along the ways that it was just like unbelievable. Like if I told you right now, if I said
Well,
that to myself right now,
mm,
I probably wouldn't believe myself unless, but I know it happened. So just like amazing, amazing things.
yeah.
And here's the thing with spirit, it always happens at the last second.
Ah! I'm glad
You
you
have to
said
wait
that.
until the last
I'm
second,
glad you
baby.
said that.
Believe until the last second.
Yeah. And I think that's, a lot of people struggle with that. People don't have the patience or whatever it is to be able to kind of hold that
Mm.
unwavering
It
faith
takes
and belief
all of the
in their hearts
patience. It
because,
takes
you
all
know,
of that.
yeah,
You gotta have a lot of
yeah.
patience.
And Yulia, I don't know if you, yeah, if this was your experience, like, I'll explain it and you can,
Mm-hmm.
add on. But for me, it's almost like, you get the idea, or you get the drop in from spirit. It's like, okay, guys, you know, you like pray, you're in the dark night, like, what do I do? And then all of a sudden, like, an idea comes up. And then it's just this kind of bubbling. You get excited, it bubbles and bubbles. But right at the last minute, it's almost like all the doubts and fears move from your cellular system into your brain to be seen. It's almost like before you actually uh,
Okay. Oh, I hear you again. I hear you. I hear you again.
Hello?
I hear you. I see something
Okay, I don't
green.
know what I did. Around.
I'm here.
Okie
Okay.
dokie. All right. What about
Mm-hmm. I hear you.
Can you see me?
Hi.
Can you see me? I can't see
I
you.
can see you.
Bring you back in. All right. Something is going down. All right. I don't know what's going on, so I'm just waiting for Yulia to come back. Oh, phones. Okie dokie. Yay. Okie doke. She's coming back up.
Hi.
Hi.
Hi. Hi.
Okay,
Hi.
good. We've back, back.
They
It's really
can't
funny
stop
because I was.
this. This is too good. They cannot interfere.
I
Okay.
know. I'm like,
Okay.
and this is why, it's so funny because I just was about to ask you. So, like, about that moment, and because your company, Yulia, and for everybody watching or rewatching this, is Know Thy Health. And for everybody who hasn't had a chance to meet Yulia or check out her page and things like that, or Instagram, she is an amazing energy worker. She is able to tell you basically about your chakras, the frequencies, what's out of alignment. She has vibrational remedies that she, magically makes herself using herbs and crystals and, all sorts of incredible, basically consciousness tools to help you look after your spiritual health. And that's ultimately why I wanted to get Yuli on to speak about, exactly that, in that dark night of the soul, you've got all these, thoughts coming up. You have to hold on to that faith. You have to watch these thoughts and not act. And it can be a very emotional time, a very
Yes.
difficult and emotional time. And a lot of us, when we go
Yes.
through this chaos, this dark night of the soul, you know, that's the part where, we do lose our faith the most. It's the part where we, get impatient, on spirit timing. And the
Yes,
thing
this
is,
is the
a lot,
part
yeah,
where, yeah, this is the deep place where most people find the light, and is that like the deep darkness of the soul is where they actually find the light and they get to see it first, because you can see that spark when you're in the deep darkness. And that's where
Yeah.
most people really discover the light, is only when they're
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
And yeah, so it's all a game of light and dark. But what were you saying before? I'm sorry.
No, I was just saying, because we were talking about your business all
Yes.
the and everything and your actual work in the world. And I was just saying, from a technical perspective, when people are going through that dark night of the soul on a physical level, what happens is that, their cells start to shake up, and that which they were holding, so those thought forms, in their physical body, the somatics
This is
start
where your
to,
physical health comes into play, and that's why
yeah,
your physical health and mental health and spiritual health and all of that is very, very important. And so the physical body, and if you remember in that the Divine Feminine workshop, I spoke a little bit about that. But in your psyche, your
mm,
physical body is the representation of your feminine side. So how you
mm,
treat your physical body is how you treat the feminine side of yours. People who abuse their bodies with certain things on the psychic level, on the energetic level, they're abusing their feminine side, basically. Right?
yeah, yeah,
What means abusing? It means like the taking energy out of it, but there's no equal exchange. So there's
yeah,
only going energy going one way. So the feminine side is being drained by the masculine side, and there's no harmony.
yeah.
um oh, you just wait, you just went upside down.
Oh, sorry, yeah, just it wouldn't let me rotate my
So this
phone.
is
That's okay.
when yes, so this is when the physical part comes in, and you cannot really be spiritual healthy unless you're physically fit. And that's just the reality of where we're at right now. Your body has to be healthy. Your nervous system has to be healthy enough to support that kind of energy running through your veins, or
Yeah,
running
yeah, yeah.
through your nervous system. Okay, and if your nervous system is damaged, or not properly developed, or whatever the reasons are, or polluted, then it's not going to happen to you. So both things have to be in place, right?
Mm,
A lot of people abandon the body in the name of spiritual enlightenment, and that is the wrong thing to do. It will never happen unless both ends. The tree will never grow up unless the roots can reach
yeah,
uh,
yeah,
deep down into the ground.
yeah. And so, I think a lot of people, that what I've kind of learned like recently is that a lot of people kind of are not even connected to that physicality in their root chakra or their sacral or their solar plexus. As soon as they get into this kind of work and start to open up and start to inquire about their spiritual profile, especially empaths, they tend
Hmm.
to move away from the body.
Hmm. Exactly, that's the first push. And
Mm,
I wish I had that to show it right now, but I saw a chart for a person, life as a series of initiations, and
mm,
apparently first you join in with the masculine, and then you go into like a sort of a neutral, and then you join in with the feminine, and then you repeat the cycle again. So first is just what happens to us. We go with the spirit because that's what we see. That's what the first thing that comes in. It's more of an active thing. It captivates you, and we go with our
yep.
masculine side. So, like I'd say, like I haven't always been the way I am right now.
Mm,
Um, like when I was younger and I was growing up, I was very boyish. Sorry, I had like very short hair. I have like pretty wide shoulders, and
yep.
like and I was very boyish, and I was into sports, and I was into science and into things like the boys are in, and I
Mm,
really didn't like hanging out with the girls so much. And a lot of people thought, mistaken me for a boy, and it didn't help that I had started developing like later, like when I was like 14 or 15, and so that I went through the cycle, and I know what it is. Um,
mm,
So it's all in a balance, and it's okay when we will go through these
Mm,
stages. We just have to we
mm,
just have to kind of know where they are, and we
yeah.
have to celebrate them, and we have to pay attention to them, and we have to like act upon those, and
Mm,
understand that what teenagers go through, or what like
mm-hmm.
40-year-old go through, or 60-year-old go through. They go through cycles of life. um
Yeah.
yeah.
So, um, what I think, what I've just got through to you from you, Julia, is that you really have to know what cycle you're in at the moment. You might be 30, but you're moving from adolescent into adulthood. You're still spiritually, emotionally, mentally at that particular initiation, so to speak. You're at that particular
Mhm.
journey. And it seems
Mhm.
that through coming to someone like yourself or someone like me, we can help to basically assist people to find out what particular you know challenge they're going through at the moment. Is this challenge from childhood that's been held in the body? Is this
Mhm.
a challenge from adolescence?
Mhm.
These particular self-worth issues, or where exactly have they come from? And through the work that you do, particularly with the body work, got trucks and planes and all sorts of stuff going on around
I know.
here. Oh,
You're in
it's all
Sydney,
happening in
aren't you?
transport.
You're in
Yeah,
Sydney,
I'm in.
right? I have to visit one day.
Oh my gosh, you're definitely coming, my love. Yeah. So, do you want to just tell everybody where you're at so they know?
I am in the United States on the
Yeah.
eastern side of it, East Coast,
Yeah.
and the northern part of New Jersey. So,
Yeah. Yeah. So, New Jersey,
yeah, New
just right,
Jersey
the
is.
state next to New York.
Yes, not too far from New York area. Yes,
Yeah.
not too
Yeah.
far from upstate New York, where I
Yeah.
really connect to, where I do a lot of my ceremonies
Yeah.
and all
Yeah.
of these
Yeah.
things are happening. So it's only about an hour to 2 hours away from me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, yeah, so that's where I'm at.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
I've been moving
So,
around a lot in my
yeah.
life, and you can connect to that as a Sagittarian
Yeah.
because, yeah, I have some Sagittarian things in my
Yeah.
chart.
Going on.
And so, yeah, I've been moving around. I've been moving so much, like it's like
Yeah.
ridiculous.
Yeah.
Countries, cities, states, like you name it, like whether I want it or not. At this point, I'm like, okay, okay, I got it. I just want to settle down someplace.
Yeah.
And life
Yeah.
is like, no, I don't think so.
So, what's your
We
latest thing now?
have plans for
What? Yeah,
you.
I was just about to say, what's your latest thing now? Like, how has Spirit inspired you in the last year? Have you got, plans? I know that you're looking at maybe doing a healing center or something like that.
My healing center plans is still there. It hasn't happened yet. And in a way, I am developing, of course, all the time
Oh, we all are.
and moving on and getting closer to it, but it's not there yet. It will
Yeah.
happen. I know it will because that's what I want.
So, if you're
um,
in New Jersey and you want a healing center, Yulia is the person to speak to.
I do have a
She
place
is
where I
ready
see
and
people.
willing.
If you're
Yeah,
somebody who
just
wants to
yeah,
sit down with me for a consultation, I see people for one-on-one consultations with couples and things like that. If you need any kind of healing, if you have any physical issues or spiritual issues, you can reach out to me. You can find me on Facebook, or you can
yeah.
take a look at my website,
Now,
and
Yulia, can
I'll
you
be happy
just
to help.
let me
Yes.
know how does a session, like if I was to get a session with you,
Mm-hmm.
how would it go? What would you do?
I have several things that we can approach the situation, depending on what the situation is. If it's a physical kind of situation, which happens to be most of the things I deal with,
Yeah.
right now is so I have different tools that I can use to measure your energy bioacoustically.
Yeah.
I also work with
Okay, so
with an
what's that? Bioacoustically. Do you want to explain that for the viewers? What does that mean?
yes, bioacoustically, it's a way of measuring your energy by using your voice. So
Okay.
basically, at the very basic nutshell level of it, your voice is your energy. So when you speak, you're breathing your energy out of your mouth, right?
Beautiful.
Um, that's what you do. And when you speak, you're singing, right? That's why singing is so beautiful. You like use woo, you just
Yeah.
sound your energy into your environment, and everyone can bathe in it, right?
Uh,
so
yeah.
so your voice is your signature frequency, okay?
So your voice, I'll just repeat that again. Your voice is your
Is your
signature
signature
frequency.
frequency. Everyone's voice is completely unique and individual to them, okay? Um, all of the frequencies that are going on in your body are contained in your voice. That's why it's like a little symphony going on in there of
Wow.
all of the different things. Let's
Mm-hmm.
say the most obvious thing, right? Let's say your body is full of heavy metals.
Mm.
Your voice will literally have a metallic sound to it. And
Wow.
some people can actually hear that and pick it up with their
Mm.
ears.
Yeah.
Most of us did not develop that ability. It's not like we don't
Wow.
have it, but we never got to develop it.
Yeah.
Um,
Get too
so
distracted.
that there are certain devices today that are able to pick up on all of these little subtle frequencies in your voice that your ear does not really differentiate so much. And so the Institute of Sound Health that I'm working with, I'm in partnership with, had
Wow.
developed this what's called frequency equivalence. They take your
Mm.
voice and you break it down into all of the different constituents of it, which are the different frequencies in your
Mm.
voice, and then each one of them is equal to a certain thing. So you can think of an energy frequency as like a blueprint that on the
Mm.
physical level creates a physical manifestation, which is a part of your body. So when you speak,
Wow. Mm.
you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, no,
You
definitely. As a
yes.
clairaudient, like on psychic TV, like out of all the readings that we could get pictures, we got text messages, but when people left a voicemail, it was for
Mm-hmm.
me, it was almost like a key that just got me straight
I
into their
know.
energy.
I know a
It was just a
voice
key
is
every
such a
time the voice.
key, isn't it?
Yeah,
It's like
yeah,
there's so much in it. There is so much in it. And if you have the ear to hear, like if you
yeah,
have a musical ear, what's called the musical ear, it basically is
mm,
the same ability. It's the
yeah,
same ability to hear the subtle frequencies in the symphonies that you're listening to that other people may not pick up on, right? It's
yeah.
like yeah, it's like having like really sensitive speakers, right?
Yeah.
Or whatever the other things.
I
So
definitely understand. Yeah.
yes. So that's how it works, and it's a very sensitive microphone. You speak into it and picks out the frequencies that we know are associated with certain things. And
Wow.
so the woman who had developed it, she's a wonderful woman, and oh my God, I cannot believe I cannot come up with her name right now, but it will come to me. And so she actually has a special ability. It's a kind of synesthesia where
Mm.
your senses get all kind of like interwoven together,
Hmm.
and you can
Yeah.
see sounds, or you can like feel vibrations, and you can feel colors, and all kinds of things get mixed in together.
Yeah.
um, so for her, it was all in the ear, and she could hear those things. And she, over the years, actually, she had worked with the government initially, and she had given her, them, all of her abilities,
The
basically.
information. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because how long
But
ago
then,
was?
yeah.
Because I know they were using psychics in the CIA right up until the 50s and 60s, so it doesn't surprise me.
Yes. Yes, there, we are so affected by the voice, and it's like there are all sorts of technique to make to make somebody's voice uh, sound trustworthy, or
Mm.
there is an actual sound of like untruth. So if you're lying, there's an actual
Yeah.
sound of lying,
Wow.
and there's an actual frequency of truth.
Yeah. Yeah.
There is such
Yeah.
thing, and the
And
devices
I,
can pick up on it, and they can tell you whether you're in the frequency of truth or you're in the frequency of a lie. It's
yeah.
pretty freaking crazy and amazing at the
Yeah,
same time.
I agree. And also, but as a sensitive, when we're kind of tuning into the energy, so we've got the trucks back. We've got, as sensitives, we kind of, as we listen to people, can feel a yes or no behind their words, like a frequency. And I think exactly what you're saying of whether we can definitely sense when people are lying or not, you know,
Mm-hmm. Yes,
and
I think,
ultimately,
and I think that our ears are not the only thing that sense
yeah.
sound. Our whole body senses sound. We sense
Mm-hmm.
sound as vibration with our feet, actually, a lot. And
Yeah.
actually, it vibrates off our rib chest a lot, like this rib, what's it called? Rib cage, like the chest part
Yeah.
right here a lot, and that's our heart, and that heart can hear things, and it hears it
Mm,
on a different level. So we really are all like, again, we're going into the age of Aquarius, and the age of Aquarius is all about vibration and energy and
yeah.
frequency. And this is
Yeah.
how we all going to talk about, and because this is how it all happens, and this is what it's all about. So we're all going to be
Wow.
talking in measurements of energy, of how energy moves.
Mm.
And
Yeah,
I
because
see
science.
myself definitely moving to that direction so fast. Like I
Yeah.
talk so much in terms of in terms of frequency and energy, that a lot of like normal people don't understand what the hell I'm talking about.
Yeah. But
Right? Does
let's
it
just
happen to
let's
you?
let's just take off the mask for a minute and get down to it, because there might be some viewers here going, I might be one of those normal people, and I don't get it. And so I'll just say this, and then you can continue on with yours. And what I'll say is that, we talk about spirit and we talk about energy, and people don't actually get, it's like, oh yeah, energy. But the whole reality and the science of this is that, science says we can't destroy energy. The very basis that we're having thought forms that create electric sparks in our brain for when they jump from neuron to neuron, says that, we are, as alive beings, creating some form of energetic vibration, that is around, that is us, from our cells coming together, that creates an energy around us, where our thoughts, these energy sparks, kind of gets held in that energetic field. But more than that, the energy itself of light, then slowing down to sound, then slowing down to a physicality. And so there is this understanding that, from a
I
scientific
like that.
perspective, we are indeed made from light slowed down.
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes. A light interfered. Light interfered with something. So it's light
Yeah.
and matter. It's light and matter, right? It's the
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
feminine as the feminine, and the masculine, exactly.
Mm, 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 mm.
And the
And so,
matter will reflect the light, right? It won't let
yeah,
it go through, and that's how
yeah,
things will create themselves.
yeah,
It's really, really, really simple on the on that basic level, if you think about it, right? But
yeah,
people have to develop their brain to into that kind of understanding,
yeah.
and it goes to you have to go the whole cycle. There's no shortcut to it. You have to go to a whole cycle
There's
to
no shortcut to
no,
figuring
no,
out who you
unfortunately
truly
not.
are.
And greatness is not accidental. If you see
Yeah,
somebody is like really talented or really great at something, they didn't
yeah,
just get lucky at it. Oh no, they worked
yeah,
on it probably for lifetimes. They
yeah,
had
yeah,
developed that
yeah,
skill the
yeah,
hard
yeah.
way. Everyone does. There's no
Yeah.
shortcuts.
Yeah. So you mentioned lifetimes. I mean, people out there, they might be, thinking about, lifetimes. Do you believe in past lives and things like that? Have you had experiences?
Absolutely. And it's funny that you mentioned because, I have been working recently with Debbie Smart, and I was really, really awesome and really insightful. And do I believe in past life? Is like, do I believe the obvious thing? Yes. Do I believe there's air out there in the sunshine? Yes, I do believe that. Yes, it's there.
Yeah, yeah,
Like it's
yeah.
just obvious to me. Like seriously, it's like I didn't like this is again where I'm saying I was kind of born this way.
Mm.
So it's just some things that were just obvious to me from the start.
So it wasn't really it wasn't really a belief. It was more knowing for you.
It was more knowing, and so different people have different like psychic abilities or intuitive abilities, and they come in the different ways, right? Some people see things, some people
Mm.
hear
Yep.
things, some people can sense things and stuff. For me, it comes in the way of just like knowing. I just freaking know. Ask me how do I know? I just don't freaking know how I know, but I know. And that's how I know it.
Yep. Yep.
It
Yep. So
feels
I
that
think
I
I.
almost figure it out. Not really there. It's beyond the mental figuring out. It's beyond that. It's the mental mixed in with the intuitive, and it's the marriage of the two.
Mm-mm. Now, yeah, I've just checked the time and we've got about 5 or so minutes
Okay.
left. And I just want to acknowledge your time. And I'm just going to ask you because this is something that, while I was traveling around, I witnessed this a lot. And it's not talked about that often, but I know from, our friendship that you definitely have witnessed this. And so it might be something that the viewers might, someone out there wants validation as well. And so, this idea of our, being, we can speak to spirits. And, generally when I say spirits, for me, it encompasses all things. But one of the things it does encompass is, of course, past loved ones who have disappeared. And, I know we can obviously mediumship, we can talk to them and things like that. But what people don't talk about a lot is the ability for our consciousness to leave our body even though we're alive.
Yes. Yes, no, that absolutely is true. And I had experienced that a few times. Uh, Not intentionally. I
Mm.
cannot make that happen intentionally yet, but it had happened to me many times before. A lot of people know that through a phenomenon known as sleep paralysis. So that is something that has
Yeah,
happened to quite a bit of people, and so they can connect
yeah.
to that, regardless on what spiritual level of development they're at right now. That's something that just happens to quite a bit of people. Um, so if
Mm.
you guys want kind of an understanding of what it feels like, that's what it feels like. Except you're not in a state of fear, but you realize exactly what happens to you, and you're like, okay, so I'm out. I'm out my body. I don't know how much time I have, but I might as well have some fun and enjoy
Hmm.
myself, and not be
Yeah,
in a state of fear, but see what I can get
yeah,
out of it. So
yeah.
it has happened to me a few times.
Mm. Have you so you've had personal experience, have you, seen any, like, have you experienced or seen or connected with, spirit people, spirits who are alive in the astral realms in that way as well?
Yes, I have.
Yeah,
Yes, I
yeah,
had. So, it has happened to me. Actually, now that I think about it, it did happen to me intentionally a few times, via allies, using allies such as plant teachers. So,
okay.
using plant teachers can take you there, and then you can
Mm.
be in an intentional state, understanding. So it just doesn't just happen to you. You can plan that out, right, and take a
Mm.
plant medicine, and then put yourself in that state. So it has happened to
Yeah.
me while taking the plant
So
medicine a
there
few
are, yeah,
times
awesome.
intentionally, and I
Yeah.
did encounter spirits of people who were alive, as well as spirits who were not manifested in the regular physical way, who were only manifested in the
Yeah.
spirit way. I could see
Mm.
them and I could see attachments, energetic
Mm,
attachments in
mm,
people, and they were
mm.
just as real to me in that state as you are to me right now,
Yeah, yeah,
literally.
agreed, agreed.
Yes, yes.
Wow. And so these are the things that, that are possible, when you are on your spiritual path, when you are raising your
Mm,
vibration, when you're doing the
yes.
healing work,
Yeah.
there is these things that experiences that happen, I guess to me it's almost, yes, you said you can set it up with a plant medicine, but once you're on this path and you start kind of clearing out that lower
Mm,
vibrational energy, your natural
yes.
abilities kind of just start happening as a side effect.
Exactly. So plant medicine is just a way to get you there initially, right? But then
Mm-mm.
once you got there and you've done that a few times, you kind of pick it up. Your brain kind of gets it and it's like,
Mm.
okay, and after a while, you kind of get there even without the plant
And
medicine. And then that's what has
yeah,
been happening to me
yeah,
with for example ayahuasca that I've been working with. At this point
yeah,
I can go into a meditation pretty
mm,
quickly and just
yeah,
literally just call her name and she will
yeah.
be there for me and I could connect
Thank
into her
you,
energy.
thank you,
Yes.
thank you. And this is something that I've kind of been saying to a few people, but I'm not really getting a response. And that is, can we, without ingesting the plant medicine, connect to the
Mm-hmm.
spirit?
Yes.
I'll admit I've said I've had Aya a few times in my lifetime, but I'm not, now I'm not really called to drink because I feel at times in my certain spaces she will come and speak to me in my dreams if I need it or not. It is not something that I need to partake in all the time
Even when
because
I go
I
into
know
my
her, she
journeys
knows
now,
me. Mm.
even when I go into my journeys now, almost every time now, I get a message from her. You don't really have to drink it anymore because
Yeah,
I'm permanently a part of you now. You can
yeah,
connect to me anytime. I know that
yeah,
deep inside of me, but I still do it because I just
yeah,
love the
yeah.
whole thing.
And she, I mean,
I just love the whole
your,
thing.
your relationship with Aya, like, let's be honest, has been such a beautiful, experience, heart sharing, where really, from the stories that you've told me as well, Yulia, really built a friendship with the plant. Built an
Absolutely.
absolute
More than a friendship,
friendship.
it's just like an
Yeah,
as the partnership that is
yeah,
just a
yeah.
beautiful co-creation. Yes.
Yeah, where, and there's been times where she's just kind of said to you in a journey, look, go and do this, this is what you need. And despite being, it being on the other side of the
And
world,
they
you've
freaking
heeded that
did it,
call.
and it freaking
Yeah,
worked, and that's the craziest
yeah,
part about it. And it's just
yeah,
like every time I think about it, it still blows my mind.
yeah, yeah,
And it happened to me. If somebody else
yeah.
told me about it, I would like so doubt it. I'll be like,
Yeah,
really?
yeah. Do you want to share with the audience just really quickly? You don't have to go into too much detail, but
Not too much
we
detail, but
yeah,
yes,
we've just
I
basically we've
had
yeah,
created a relationship with medicine that was at a very close level, to a point where I was getting instructions pretty uh, um, uh, detailed instructions about doing certain things, and I freaking followed the instructions, and
to the
just as
T. You did not
predicted to the
deviate.
T, I had
Yeah,
met the people who carried the message that was necessary for other people, and the whole thing was just so connected in such an incredible way that just unbelievable. So the medicine actually told me names of people, actual names of people who live in other countries that I had to reach out to in order to get a certain message that was very important for me
and
and for other
and
people.
clear your spiritual health as well.
Yes, to clear out my spiritual health and all of that. And these people actually existed, and I had actually found them, and they actually did deliver the message. And the
Yeah,
whole thing
yeah,
is just like mind blowing.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Look, Julia, you are ultimately, I have to say, one of my hearts. As I said to you earlier, I love,
you know, your courage, you know, that ability of the knowingness. I think people, you know, I've said it in another video before, that people just turn that out into the side and say, this is not, you know, worth it. We want to see things, we want to hear things, but the knowingness, the claircognizance to me is beyond. And I just, you know, love your ability to just know, to just go do things, and to continue to, you know, be a service as you are, despite, you know, what's happening, what's going on. You know, I know with, you know, moving and spirituality, sometimes we just have to be in certain places for a certain time and leave real quickly.
Yeah, I know.
So,
We
you
just,
know,
yeah.
like all of
We
that,
got little missions that we fill out and then we gotta move on.
yeah, you know, all of that. And I'm just so grateful to have you as a soul sister, and of course a
Me
beautiful
too,
friend,
sister. Me too.
you know.
Thank you so
And
much. Let's
I hope
connect
that,
more, please, and
yeah, yeah, look,
let's talk
if
more.
you,
And I just want to
yeah,
say to the audience, if you guys
yeah,
want to know more details about it, you want to hear more about us or from us, that you want to hear us
yeah,
discuss other things,
yeah,
please request, please let us
1000%.
know,
You know, if
and
there's any
we live for
questions
this stuff,
about,
so
yeah, please pop
this
your
is what we
questions.
love
If
to do.
Yeah, and if you watch this a little bit later, pop your questions. As you can tell, Yulia is a sound and vocal goddess. She understands the frequency behind, you know, what is actually going on in your spirit, your soul, and it indicates to her how she can help you mentally, physically, emotionally, and then of course spiritually. You know, if you speak to Yulia, she's going to be able to put you on the map, and look at some of those things that in your body, what you're holding in your body, that you might not even know where they came from. She can pick that up, help you clear it. She's got some beautiful perfumes and essences and tinicas that she mixes up together with her organic range. She's very sensitive herself, and so she knows, you know, if you're out there and you can't deal with, you know, technology, the
Reach out
Wi-Fi,
to me, people. Let's connect. Let's talk.
yeah, you know,
Let's have some
talk to Yulia.
healing sessions. And
Listen, we're
yeah,
available, so, you know, please get in
yes,
contact. And to the people in New York and New Jersey, Yulia is available right there for you to go and see personally as well. All
exactly.
right.
Yes.
Thank you, thank you,
Thank
thank
you,
you.
my love.
Thanks,
Thank
Robert.
you.
You too.
I
All right. Lots of love.
will be in
Blessings.
touch. Okay. Bye.
Yep. Bye.